Welcome to Talking Buffalo, featuring conversations with guests from around the world of sports, media, pop culture, and all things Buffalo. With your host, Patrick Moran.
All right, what is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to what will be a short episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Big thank you to everyone out there, as always, for watching and for listening, for following and subscribing. I do appreciate y'all very, very much. I am exhausted right now. I am like literally drained, not physically drained, emotionally drained from watching a game. And this is a live reaction show. In fact, on the video side, we are live literally within 15 minutes or so after the game. Just one of the weirdest games that you'll see. Before we get into the game, of course, the Bills win 23-20. At the end of the day, that's what matters the most. When you look at the standings tomorrow, style points don't count. The Bills are 4-2. The Jets are 2-4. That's the big thing. I want to bring back a quote that Mike Greenberg on ESPN said today before the game, leading into it. And I thought it was really poignant, and I wrote it down. He said, and this is regarding the Jets, and he is a big, lifelong New York Jets fan. And I thought this was completely accurate before the game. He said, hard to remember the last Jets game that felt like this. Like literally everything is at stake. Tonight will either be the beginning of something or the end of everything. For the New York Jets right now, the Bills won this game, and this may be the end for the New York Jets. Before we get into any of the ugly stuff about this game, and God, was this game ugly. This was a game that neither team wanted to win. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves here. If you're not a Buffalo Bills fan or New York Jets fan, you got no horse in this race, and you're just watching this game on TV as a casual football fan, I'd be almost willing to bet that you turned it off. And if you didn't, you watched one ugly, mistake-prone, nonstop, penalty-prone football game. It was quite literally hard to watch. Again, a game that neither team wanted to win. But from the Buffalo Bills, I've tried real hard on these episodes to keep things in perspective. Tried not to get too high on the Buffalo Bills when they were 3-0, although I did. And I said that they might be the best team in the NFL. Then I tried to get, I didn't want to get too down on the Bills after two straight road losses against two good teams, I should say. But I did. And I was very concerned about going into this game. But I've said it all along. Going into this game, the Bills, by going 3-0 to start the season, they afforded themselves opportunities. I considered the Baltimore game an opportunity to win on the road. I considered the Houston game an opportunity on the road. Now, obviously, the Bills didn't cash in on either of those opportunities, but for me, it was always about this game. I said it on the podcast last week. I've kind of shifted my focus away from the Bills trying to be the best team in AFC right now, having the best record in the conference. It's about the division. You win the division. Winning the division not only gets you into the playoffs, but it guarantees you at least one home playoff game. So this game was huge for the Bills. You lose this game, that's 3 in a row you've dropped. Questions are going to be asked, and this time, rightfully so. And to be honest with you, there's still a lot of questions about this team. We'll get into at least a couple of them on this episode here. But you go and you win, which ultimately the Buffalo Bills did. You are 4-2. You have beaten both Miami and the New York Jets now on the road, both games. You have a stranglehold right now on the AFC East. For the flaws on this roster, the flaws with the coaching, the flaws with the head coach, the flaws with the kicker, the flaws at safety, or at least one half of the safety position right now, all that stuff, all these flaws, the Bills essentially right now have a stranglehold on the AFC East. And we're just 6 weeks into the season. That, to me, has been the most amazing storyline from a Buffalo Bills perspective of these first 6 weeks of the season. I don't think anybody expected, well, I shouldn't say the Bills being 4-2 was a surprise. This is a good football team. But I don't think anyone out there in July and August expected the Miami Dolphins to be 2-4 and essentially toast. And I don't think anyone expected the New York Jets 6 weeks into the season to have already fired their head coach, have Aaron Rodgers looking miserable on the sidelines, 2-4, and also essentially toast. But that is what Miami and the New England Patriots, the New England Patriots as well, and the Jets are at this point. Before I get into some actual game stuff, I am going to take a victory lap. I'm going to do it on this show. I'm going to do it on tomorrow's show, and I'm going to do it on every single show this week. I am taking a personal solo victory lap for this game. And I say that for one reason, and I'm going to play this clip, and I'm going to shove it down your throats all week long. We do a Bills preview each week, each episode, or I should say before a game. And I have bold predictions, whether I'm doing a solo show or whether I have a guest. On Monday morning show, Anthony Moran will join me, and we each had bold predictions. I had 3. I am going to play those for you right now and then be back, and we'll talk about them because somebody went 3 for 3 on their bold predictions. Just take a quick listen. Game's 41. I think it's going to go over, but not by much. Like, it's going to be really close. But if I was a gambler and I was betting, I would take the over. I think it's going to go over, but not by much. Let me run through these, and then if you got a response to them or one of your own, we'll hit that. My second one. So I have spent basically this entire podcast saying that Mac Hollins more or less sucks, right? That's basically what I've been saying. Well, Mac Hollins is going to score a touchdown in this game. If I got a parlay going in any time parlay or any time touchdown, and you're playing the odds, obviously, because, he's not expected to, Matt Collins is going to score a touchdown. I'm speaking that into existence. I can feel it in my bones. We do all this Matt Collins bashing. I don't know if that's a good thing, though, because if Mac scores a touchdown, Brandon Beam, like, oh, see, I told you we got a guy. We don't need to go get freaking Amari Cooper. He's going to score a touchdown. My third one, Teron Johnson is playing, and he's going to have a big second half, potentially a game-sealing interception of Aaron Rodgers. Teron Johnson is going to be the dude who not only plays, and I'm going to look like an idiot if he don't even play now, but he's going to be the dude who seals the deal if the Bills win with a big defensive play. So those were my... There you go, folks. 3 for 3. I said this game was going to go over, but barely. The over was 41. The Bills won 23-20. I said Mac Hollins was going to score a touchdown, and he did. Quite frankly, he should have scored 2. Didn't hold on to a ball in the fourth quarter. And I said Teron Johnson was going to play, and he was going to have a potential game-sealing interception late on Aaron Rodgers. And quite literally, that is what he done. So again, thank you. Finally, I was right. I probably have cost people a lot of money throughout the season if you actually took my bold predictions and made bets on them, unless you did it for this game. Then you would have made yourself some money. And let me say this too. Tomorrow's episode will be much more thought out. I'll have notes. I'll be able to watch the film. I'll be able to go through the PFF grades, sift through a lot of stuff when we get into the game. Right now, it's just like literally spur of the moment, top of my head kind of reactions. I was supposed to have Joe from Queens with me. Unfortunately, Joe was traveling back from Atlanta. By the time he got back home and stuff like that, it was just too late, and he wasn't able to do it. But he will be doing the rest of the Bills games, post games live with me. Anyway, again, to me, this was a game that legitimately no one wanted to win. And there's a lot of comments because, again, we're doing this on the video side live. When I'm done going through a few things that I do have, I'll kind of sit through the comments and read a few of them off and we'll reply to them. But yeah, like I said, this was an ugly game. 22 accepted penalties, 11 for each team. The Bills had 94 yards in penalties. The Jets had 110 yards in penalties. I think the officiating was the story of the game. But whether you're a Bills fan or whether you're a Jets fan, I don't think you could say you lost because of lopsided officiating. Like, this was one of those games where quite literally it was awful for both sides. There were some penalties on both teams that should have never been called. Like that roughing the passer on AJ Epinesa. Like, what are we doing here with that call? That was one of the worst calls I've seen in a very long time. But it was just an ugly, sloppy game. And look, it wasn't all officials with these penalties. I mean, the Bills, that one drive in the second half, they had a false start coming out of the huddle. And then they had Spencer Brown. I don't know if it's on Spencer Brown. I don't know if it's on Joe Brady, but it feels like that's little loop shit there. Twice that happened in the game where the Bills had a legal formation where Spencer Brown was by himself on that side. I don't even know how that worked, but again, just these stupid penalties. A lot of them were, dumb penalties for both teams. And that's just 22 accepted penalties. There were some offsetting penalties. There were some things that were declined. Like I said, this felt to me legitimately like a game that nobody wanted to win. If you're a Jets fan right now, I don't even know how sick you must be. Well, I do know because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan and we've seen this many times over with Buffalo. But it just feels, again, like the Bills just tried so hard to give this game away and the Jets were just like, nah. The Jets were just 1-4 in the red zone. 2 short missed field goals. It's just, again, so if you're a Jets fan, you're like, what the hell? If you're a Bills fan, you're like, how did this come down to it? Because it came to the last 2-3 minutes of the second quarter, and the Bills got themselves in that sexy position I love, the opportunity to double dip. And it certainly looked like they were going to do that. They score with 31 seconds left in the before halftime. And then the Jets run one play, all their last timeout. And Sean McDermott calls a timeout his Kodak moment, and he rushes two guys. And Greg Rizzo and Bernard and AJ Epinesa are covering ground 20, 25 yards down the field. There's not a receiver within 40 yards. So either you run down towards the end zone or you rush after the quarterback, and they just stood around. Bernard started to get after the quarterback, but at that point, it's too late. Aaron Rodgers chucks it into the end zone. Teron Johnson, who redeemed himself, tries to box the guy out like he's playing basketball. Taylor Rapp, who redeemed himself a few times in the second half, actually, goes for an interception instead of knocking the ball down. Damar Hamlin, who I'm getting really tired of these Damar Hamlin questions, but we'll address him during the week. He's behind the guy somehow, and bam, Hail Mary. Changed the complete complexion of the game. It was just unbelievable. And from that point, this just became a game of survival, literally. Just neither team refused to take advantages of opportunities. It was taking turns, shooting yourself in the foot. And every time I say this, let me preface this. You're on the road against an AFC East divisional rival in prime time. You got the W. I get that, okay? I really do. But we're not going to just completely wash over a lot of the stink that happened in this game for the Bills, because there's a lot of teams, a lot of opponents that they played, or if they had played tonight, they probably get blown out of the stadium. But I want to talk about 3 specific players tonight that I thought were great for the Buffalo Bills. Number 1, didn't see this coming, Ray Davis. Now, we knew James Cook was going to be out. Well, we didn't know until about 90 minutes or so before the game. So James Cook is scratched with turf toe. And I thought this would be a Ty Johnson game. Ty Johnson actually got the first carry of the game and had a nice 12-yard run to the outside on the right. I'm like, all right, here we go. The Bills can still run the ball on this team. And then Ray Davis came in on the second play of the game. And he was a bulldozer. He had 48 yards rushing on the Bills' first drive, a drive where it was just straight-up brutality. 9-play drive. The Bills ran the ball 8 times, and Ray Davis was just running the ball down their throat. Ray Davis showed up tonight. This was the official arrival of Buffalo Bills rookie Ray Davis. I thought he was spectacular tonight. Running guys over, not going. I don't know if there's a carry he had the entire game where the first tackler brought him down. I have to go back and watch the film. If that did happen, it won many times. He was running through dudes. Straight up north to south. You love to see it. 20 carries, 97 yards on the night. And he also had 3 catches for 55 yards including that 42-yarder where Josh Allen just rolled out, threw the ball down the field. And Davis jumped way too early, but to his credit, he found a way to hold on to the ball. So the Bills, look, I'm a big James Cook guy. I think James Cook through the first 5 weeks of the season has been the most consistent player, certainly on the Bills offense. And the Bills did not miss James Cook one iota against the New York Jets. I did not expect that. He was spectacular. Josh Allen, look, the numbers aren't going to blow you away, but 19 for 25, and at least two off the top of my head, and maybe even three of those were throwaways to the sideline when he was under pressure. Matt Collins, okay, I don't want to say he flat out dropped one, but he didn't bring in a catch that he should have in the end zone for what would have been a touchdown. So only threw 6 incompletions, and I just ran off 3 of them right there. 19 to 25, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, which, by the way, 6 games into the season, Josh Allen still has not thrown a single interception this season. And then he had a rushing touchdown as well. And, of course, with the game on the line, a chance to seal the deal. 3rd and 4, Josh takes the ball, beats his guy, gets to the left, gets the first down. Bam, that's the ball game. I thought Josh Allen, all things considered, played incredible tonight. Now, this is a team that he has played like complete shit against for the most part throughout his career. 18 total touchdowns coming into this game, and that's rushing and throwing versus 18 turnovers. Like, he has literally turned the ball over as much as he got into the end zone against the Jets. But that didn't happen at all in this game. Almost lost a fumble, got a little bit lucky. Luckily, Osiris Torrance fell on the ball. But you know what? When you have the type of plays that you get from Josh Allen, you're going to have to live with that kind of mistake once in a while, which the Bills completely got away with. So it's not even like the play just to Ray Davis. Like that touchdown pass, he avoided a sack, rolls to his left, finds Dawson Knox in the end zone. These Bills receivers are not getting open off the line. They're just not. Now, Keon Coleman had a couple nice slants in the second half. You like to see that, something to build off of. But like most of the success that the Bills had in the passing game was because Josh was extending plays, especially in the first 3 quarters. Pretty much any success the Bills had with the passing game was Josh Allen extending plays with his leg. Like I said, the pass deep to Davis. A couple of heaves down the field to Matt Collins that actually drew pass interference penalties. So Josh was really smart. He played well, stayed within himself, and he was on top of his game. So that's the second guy. And then the third guy that I want to singularly mention out tonight is, and I owe him an apology too. I'm going to man up on this one. If you follow me on Twitter, I was blasting the Bills safeties literally the entire game. Just disgusted with watching the safety playing. These guys playing 20, 25 yards down every play. But I realized most of my disdain should be directed towards Damar Hamlin because, and again, I owe him an apology. Taylor Rapp played great in this game. He was great. He saved 2 touchdowns, not 1, 2 touchdowns, 11 points. Taylor Rapp almost single-handedly saved the Bills 11 points in this game. One play where Breece Hall was going down the sideline, would have scored. Taylor Rapp hustled, knocked him out of bounds, and I think they got held to a field goal on that series. Another one, Taylor Rapp broke up a ball. He hit Garrett Wilson, perfect timing, not a penalty too. And Garrett Wilson did not hold on to the ball. He actually stayed down, got the wind knocked out of him. But that was a touchdown. He had Hamlin beat. He was catching that ball. Taylor Rapp knocked it out. And then the Jets missed the field goal. So like I said, he single-handedly saved his team 4 points and then 7. He saved the team 11 points with those 2 plays alone. And he also had a very nice pass breakup. Again, it looked like at first it was a hit to the head, but it wasn't. He just made a nice play on the ball. I'm talking about the Jets' final drive. Ultimately, that ended in Aaron Rodgers chucking the ball down the field. They got picked. Beautiful catch, by the way, with Teron Johnson. Look, the Bills are getting healthier too, by the way. Last week you saw, even though they lost, you saw the difference between Terrell Bernard being back and what you had in Braylon Spector. This week, even though he didn't play a clean game, it wasn't a perfect game, made some mistakes, but when it mattered the most, Teron Johnson came through. And you saw the difference with Teron Johnson in this lineup as opposed to Cam Lewis. So getting healthy for this team is very, very important. Hopefully they can get Ed Oliver back soon on this defensive line. But those are my three guys. Off the top of my head, maybe after watching film and doing the podcast tomorrow, I'll have some further thoughts. But Ray Davis, Josh Allen, and Taylor Rapp, I thought were pretty spectacular on the day. Tell you what, I'm going to take a real quick break on the video side, maybe 4 or 5 seconds or so. Come back, hit on a couple things, and I'll try to get to a couple of these comments that you guys are sending in before we wrap up. All right, I am back here in the moments following a Buffalo Bills 23-20 victory. Ugly, but you'll take it. Monday Night Football over the New Jersey Jets. The Bills are in firm control of the AFC East now at 4-2. The Jets and the Dolphins basically 2.5 games back. So where you want to be if you're the Buffalo Bills? I'm almost in shock. I'm dumbfounded. I did not look. There was a lot of points in the second half. I did not expect to come on here live and be talking about a Bills victory, because this just looked like a team that was ready to blow it, because that's what they were doing. I go back to that sequence before the half. They're up 20-10, 8 seconds left. And again, that game feels like it's close to being over. Jets don't complete a Hail Mary. You're getting the ball. You score. Bam, the Jets are running for the bus. But again, a 2-man rush after a Sean McDermott timeout. I'm going to be honest with you. Had the Bills went on to lose this football game, my mindset, it still might be later in the week. I'm not going to be happy with them. But I think I'm almost out on Sean McDermott. Now, that means zero, because Sean McDermott's not going anywhere. This team could go on a major losing streak and miss the playoffs, and I still do not think that Terry Pegula would fire Sean McDermott based on one bad season. But week after week after week, it feels like, at least when they're playing good teams, not that the Jets are a really good team, but this was a big game. Let me say big game instead of good teams. Just seems like Sean's making inexcusable mistakes. Last week we had to hear, we'll learn from it. Well, are we going to learn from it this week when you rush 2 guys from the 52-yard line on Aaron Rodgers? It just make sense to me. I just thought that was just really stupid. And again, it wasn't just him, though. I mean, again, the players were shooting themselves in the foot. Early in the third quarter, Dawson Knox in the same play managed to drop a pass and commit offensive pass interference. And then Tyler Bass misses a field goal after missing an extra point earlier, which was just, I don't even know if it was blocked. It was so ugly, I'm going to assume that it was blocked. I don't even know. Here's what I do know. He's 2 for 5 this season from 40 to 49 yards. And, it's easy to say, well, get rid of this guy. And the proper answer would be, all right, well, who are you bringing in? I don't know, but this guy is a disaster now. He's got the yips. He don't look right. You can't trust him. There's no way Sean McDermott is going through this week if he's looking at himself in the mirror and being honest and saying that I trust Tyler Bass. So I don't know who they bring in. A street free agent, who knows? But I feel like it's time. You might have seen Tyler Bass. By the way, have you ever been more nervous about a 22-yard field goal in your life as you were in that fourth quarter? But anyway, he misses a field goal. The Bills get a stop on another drive, but then AJ Epinesa takes that penalty, which in fairness to him was a terrible call. It leads to a field goal when they had him stopped, so now it's a tie game. It was like the Jets had 10 points that were given to them that they had no business having. Spencer Brown, who was really, really good the first 3 weeks, he has been awful the last couple weeks, both with his play and just penalties, man. You can argue, he got a personal foul penalty and it nullified because it became offsetting. It would have been like a 40-yard down the field pass interference that the Bills didn't get because Spencer Brown also got an unsportsmanlike conduct. And you can argue that the play itself might have been a bullshit call on him. But when Spencer Brown is running his mouth and jawing with players after almost every play, when Spencer Brown is pushing and shoving after the whistle almost every single play, he becomes a target. And that is, I think, what's happening with him now. And then he had 2 more penalties on the next drive after the Jets missed a chip shot field goal. Then in between quarters, somehow we go to a commercial and Deion Dawkins gets a personal foul penalty. It was just, absolute insanity for both teams. In terms of, like I said, bad players, I'm not going to get into. I already talked about Tyler Bass. I ain't getting into DeMar Hamlin today. I don't have the mental energy. I'm exhausted. But the Bills have a serious free safety problem. And I want to watch the film to confirm, but I am pretty confident that when you watch this film, he might have played even worse than I thought. I know there was one run in particular, the long run actually, where I said Taylor Rapp actually saved the touchdown, Brees Hall. DeMar Hamlin got blocked so easy, it didn't look like he wanted no part of that play. This guy's he's just not good enough. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why Mike Edwards is not getting the nod over him. Hell, I don't even know why the rookie Cole Bishop, they got to do something. And I keep saying it, and it sounds like fantasy talk, but it's really not. If I'm Sean McDermott, I am seriously considering calling Micah Hyde. You're at the point of the season now. You're in week 7. And I know Micah Hyde is not the Micah Hyde that we saw 2-3 years ago. Probably not even close. But I refuse to believe that Micah Hyde, even if he's been sitting on his couch for the last 8-9 months, you can't tell me that within 2 to 3 weeks, he can't come here, get up to speed, and be better than what DeMar Hamlin is in 2024. I refuse to believe that. So you got a DeMar Hamlin problem. And I thought AJ Vanessa played well. I thought DaQuan Jones, for a second week in a row, is starting to make a little bit of noise. It seems like he's getting his game back here a little bit. I gotta be honest with you. Where's Greg Rizzo been? Where's Greg been? Where's Groot been? He was the AFC Defensive Player of the Week in week 1, and he's been relatively quiet since then. I mean, he's done some things here and there, but nothing significant. This team misses Von Miller, by the way. They got away with it tonight. It'd be nice to get Von Miller back. That pass rush was very spotty, although they did do better in the second half. In fact, the Bills had 2 sacks when Bobby Babbitt rushed 5 guys. I know that for a fact because I was screaming at my TV that they were rushing 4 or less almost every time. But anyway, again, at the end of the day, what matters is getting a W on the road against a divisional rival. If you're the New York Jets, what else is left? What else is left if you're the New York Jets? You switch head coaches. That didn't work. This was to give you, by the way, I don't even think it's a coincidence on the timing. They're playing the Bills, Monday Night Football. This was the week. You get that emotional lift from having a new head coach. Well, that team is every single bit is undisciplined and shot themselves in the foot every bit as much as the Buffalo Bills did tonight, and obviously just a little bit more. So you've used up the head coach. You demoted Nate Hackett, and you switched play callers. Todd Downing called plays in this game. And you've now used that up. Aaron Rodgers looks hobbled. Aaron Rodgers looks miserable. Aaron Rodgers looks demoralized on the sidelines. This team's got a lot of good players, but they're a very top-heavy team. A lot of flaws on this team, and it got exposed. You're 2-4, and you just lost at home to the team that you're desperately trying to catch. You're in a world of trouble if you're the New York Jets. And as for the Dolphins, I just don't think they're a very good team. I just don't. Again, a team with a couple superstar players, and that's it. Tua, even if let's not forget, before Tua got hurt, the Bills were dominating the Miami Dolphins with Tua. But now you don't have him. That offense stinks. That defense, not very good. A lot of holes in that defense. A lot of old guys. Guys who don't play up to what their name is. And Miami was the type of team, when you look at their schedule, they needed to get out to a fast start because the end of their schedule, that last 6 weeks, is like murderous. So the Buffalo Bills, for all their flaws, again, you have a safety problem. I think you got a head coach problem still, but that's not going anywhere. You're just going to have to deal with that, overcome it. Some weeks, Sean McDermott is an asset. Other weeks, he's a liability. And when he's a liability, you're going to have to find a way to overcome it, which is what the Bills did today. Teron Johnson went out and made a play. Josh Allen made a couple plays. Ray Davis stepped in for James Cook, and he was huge. You overcome that. But the Bills got issues. But you're 4-2, man, and you are in firm control of the AFCs. All right, before I get out here real quick, again, I want to go through kind of these, a couple of these comments. Maz, the rest were awful too. Yeah, a lot of this stuff was sent earlier in the show too, so I'm just trying to go through these here again. I'm doing this by myself. Usually I have Joe with me, and when Joe's talking, I kind of go through, I sift through these and I'm able to get to these. Joe Rodriguez, Ray Davis, Taylor Rapp, hell of a game. Yeah, we talked about that. And again, I owe Taylor Rapp an apology because I was really critical on Twitter of him during the game until I really sat back and realized, actually, I was told, I'm just going to be honest here, how good he played. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Ray Davis, did not see it coming. That definitely surprised me. Mike B, my guy, big dubs. Yeah, it's a big win. This is the biggest win of the season for the Bills. Again, not style points. Well, this is Miami. Those are the 2 wins. You go through the first 6 games of the schedule. If you're a Bills fan, you're like, all right, well, you're going to go 4-2. You're like, all right, well, that's pretty good. Well, how am I going to do against Miami and the Jets? Well, you beat them both. You're signing up for that 10 out of 10 times. Brian Black says, McDermott, a stud, running 2 on Rodgers. Yeah, we talked about that, man. It's just bad coaching. And it's always like he's got to take that stupid timeout, the Kodak moment to see the formation. So you saw the formation and said, yeah, you know what? I'm going to rush 2. Like you didn't know that the formation was going to be Aaron Rodgers needs to get the ball with no timeouts in the end zone. That's just stupid coaching. You have 3 guys stuck in no man's land. They're not deep in the end zone. They're not near the line. They're 20, 25 yards. It's just stupid, man. But anyway, they got away with it. Again, I'm going to do a lot of these comments here. McDermott got to protect the sidelines. Everyone else, what? All right. So a lot of stuff about that play here from you. They gave up the TD because Teron Johnson wasn't playing the ball. He was grabbing at Lazard's legs instead of going for the ball. Fair point. That's from Maz Vids, one of my favorite YouTubers who watches these shows. It's a very good point. I said that. Yeah, Teron Johnson was more concerned about boxing the guy out. Taylor Rapp was more concerned about trying to get an interception, it seemed like, than just knocking the ball down. And again, I don't know what the hell. What was Damar Hamlin doing behind the guy somehow? I don't understand it. Brian Hack, dude that passed, should have never gotten that far. All right, I'm not quite sure what we're talking about here again, because these comments were coming in throughout the show. Leanne King, I hope Scott Norwood was watching. You know what's funny? So that Tyler Bass miss was from 47 yards, which is not a gimme. But then I start thinking about some of these kickers around the league. And if it's 50, 55 yards, they seem automatic. That Houston game, Fairborn, when he kicked that 59-yard field goal, didn't feel like that may as well have been a 31-yard field goal. You knew he wasn't going to miss that. But every kick with Tyler Bass is hold your breath. I'm going to tell you, I really, truly think that maybe the biggest storyline coming from this week is going to be, does Tyler Bass have a job? And we'll find out relatively soon. Because it's going to be a short week. You know, the Bills just played there on Monday night. And, so Tuesday, they'll try out kickers. They've done that already. I don't know what they're going to do. I wish I had kickers' names to throw out to you. I don't. Because some buddies of mine, and they're not wrong. You're like, all right, well, it's easy to say, let's get rid of Tyler Bass. Who are you going to sign? I don't know. Well, what I do know is that this dude is just a mess. And I just don't think you can go on with a guy that you can't trust. And I don't think Tyler Bass even trusts himself at this point. All right. Bass says he's going to throw the ball to the end zone, come to the sideline. All right, anyway, all right. Appreciate these comments, man. Again, a lot of them, I normally be able to get up to a lot more of these, but doing this solo, I just didn't have an opportunity. In fact, I'm going to call it a day with this episode. I don't want this to go much longer. I am going to watch Tuesday morning. I'm going to get up. I'm going to watch the game film. I'm going to get a hold of PFF grades, which will be out late morning. I'm going to sift through them. And then we will have a biggest takeaways show after watching the film. Like I said, this is kind of knee-jerk reactions in the moment, not really having a chance to put a lot of thoughts together. Typically, we go live at 10 p.m. when the Bills play on Sunday, which, thank God, by the way, nice little low-key part of this game. Second last primetime game of the season for the Bills. From a content creation standpoint, I absolutely hate these late games, trying to go on late like this. 1:00 and 4:00 games, we go on live at 10 p.m. Plenty of time to really dissect things and put some thoughts together. But anyway, again, one more time, at the end of the day, ugly, yes, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All that matters is the Buffalo Bills right now are 4-2, and they have a stranglehold on this division. They need to make some moves, and we're going to talk about that on tomorrow's show. I want to watch the film. I want to see how often these receivers were open, because it felt to me like almost every time Keon Coleman had a couple nice slants. By the way, we'll talk about Curtis Samuel tomorrow. Finally, he was a somewhat of a factor in this game. At least he was an asset. He wasn't a liability in this game. So props to Curtis Samuel. We'll hit on him on tomorrow's show. I want to see these receivers, where they getting open. It felt to me like 90% of the time it was Josh extending plays with his legs to get these guys open. They need to get a wide receiver. I know it. You know it. Brandon Beane knows it. Got to make it happen. You know, that fourth quarter, Matt Collins not coming down with that catch. That's a catch that Amari Cooper is going to make. That's a catch that Deontay Johnson is going to make. That's a catch that Devontae Adams, even though I don't think he's going to be a Buffalo Bill. Well, you know what? The Jets just lost. Maybe Devontae Adams is not going to be a New York Jet. Guys like that. I could keep going on and on. I know there's other guys as well, but more guys make that catch. Matt Collins doesn't. I ain't mad at Matt Collins. Matt Collins shouldn't be on the field in that situation. So we'll talk about the receivers, all that stuff coming up on tomorrow's show. Thank you very much, by the way, for doing this well after midnight. Almost 700 people here on the live. Appreciate y'all very much. Come back. Brand new show tomorrow.